Oh man, yeah, this is Hillbilly Elegy. Imagine this is the soundtrack to Hillbilly Elegy. This is Henry Flint, Hillbilly Tape music, not Hillbilly Elegy. Hillbilly Elegy music by Henry Vance. That's right. Well, J.D. Vance isn't his name either, so he might as well be fucking Henry Vance. Oh man, imagine, imagine the life he could have lived if he discovered experimental post Fluxus hillbilly inspired minimalism of the 1960s. Life changing for anyone who encounters this type of work. What's up, everybody? It's Critique. It's in a group, and we fighting. GCFC, Monday Night Raw, Olympics edition. Everybody needs to do whatever it is that skiing and then shooting and then skiing some more and then shooting, whatever that's called, that's now intrinsically a part of this for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. In fucking Milano Cortina. Hope everyone's doing well. We got ourselves some tracks today. We have our monthly project due in what now? What is it? Fucking 3 weeks? 3 weeks from now? 2 weeks. Right? 2 weeks? Yeah. 2 weeks from now. Get yourself assigned a partner if you haven't already. We got Raven Chacon coming in. Yeah, it's in 2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks. So yes, that will be happening in 2 weeks. We got Raven Chacon coming in, guest facilitating the critiques. Really looking forward. We got a lot of people participating in that. It's going to be a doozy. Like I said, I don't know how much critique we're actually going to be able to get to. It's going to be a lot of listening, which, will be fun. Hopefully we don't piss Raven off with like 2 hours of music and discussion, I don't want to push it. We'll see how many we can get to. But the true benefit is not just being critiqued by someone like Raven, but doing the work, doing the challenge, maintaining the routine. Awesome. Let me open up here. We got ourselves our... Oh, yeah. As always, you know it. You love it. Our Monday night streams are presented by our good friends at Tape Trade. You know them. You love them. No AI, no ads, just straight lossless file sharing, playlisting, electronic press kit services at a very affordable price without any fucking data scraping, from a team you can trust. If you ever need yourself some private playlist links to send people on your digital dub plate mindset grind set, utilize yourself something like Tape Trade. Many thanks to them for supporting our stream and getting it to you, the masses. We are continuing on with our February 2026 folder. We got 5 tracks submitted today. Looking forward to listening to. First one coming in from Breathplay. They have written to us. This is a blend of Charlie XCX's Focus with All Right by Peak Oil's Token Jazz signee Lifted. It is a manifesto for the genre I'm coining called Neo-Quiet. There we go. We're getting new aesthetic terminologies birthed in the GCFC. Neo-Quiet is a fusion of dub techno and Quiet Storm, or more accurately, psychedelic sex music with a romantic character and dub texture. Beautiful. This blend will open a long-form Neo-Quiet mix I'm fixing to drop on Valentine's Day. Perfect. My current dilemma is whether to stitch the mix together in Ableton out of recordings like this, or rehearse it and record it as a single take. An assembled mix allows me to focus on the vision and use golden takes like this one, but a live take of the entire mix where you can hear the through line of my hands enhances the intimacy and humanity of a sound intended for the bedroom. I would like to hear opinions on this dilemma. I would say, in theory, I would go with the individual takes pieced together as a formal fixed media work, a tape piece of sorts in the DAW. But I understand the conundrum. Well, let's listen to it first, and we'll discuss more. Figure A. Yeah. Hell yeah. Give it up for breath play. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the what you had just said in the chat, the real low dynamics here, like the real peripheral quiet at the very end, is quite nice, you know. And this is obviously with the breath play project not at all meant to be a straightforward DJ project, but rather a live tape music project that utilizes digital DJ software and hardware to perform it. But you're very much treating this like a as a straightforwardly concrete approach. Sometimes it ends up being very danceable. Sometimes it ends up completely in left field, more as a performed collage. We have sort of something in between with this one, because it doesn't. The Charlie XCX song doesn't reveal itself more than like a single, seemingly a single, like rhythmic loop of some sort of sequence, right? Like it doesn't. We don't end up hearing any real vocals or anything like that. If they are there, they're certainly like filtered, like LPF'd way out. But it's seemingly okay. So it's all in the extreme highs. Once you know there, it's there. It's very present. So talk about peripheral. No, that's lovely, because the main like prominent zone of let's say frequency exposure that isn't filtered is the jazz combo, right? So there's kind of this like peripheral pulse, peripheral rhythm happening via the very simple and heavily filtered Charlie XCX through the quantized dub delay echo, and then pairing that with the very inherently loose, improvised and sometimes arrhythmic sort of stylings of Lifted. That's the name of the group. So it has this really nice sort of relationship between like deeply gridded and like completely out of the grid, while still maintaining a cohesive sort of mix and delivery here. So going back into the dilemma, the big question of making like a long form mix here. I mean, like, you don't need to prove to yourself with a recorded mix that you can do it as a single performance and do it well. Like, you should be able to do both, but like the latter being like be able to perform it all as one. To be able to actually do that live in front of people or on camera is one thing for a live stream or something. But like for the sake of like publishing a mix that you have the ability to refine to your full extent. I mean, like, I'm no purist here. Like, I think it's totally okay to break it into sections, or one-offs in this case, because this alone, like you said, like is quite nice, and these are dubs. Like these are technically remixes, but they're really like recompositions that you're doing here. Doesn't feel like the same approach of doing it as a mix. So like I would like to hear it in its refined sort of way, because like you're already toying beyond the typical mix expectations here. And so for the sake of like a finished product that you could put out there like to the best of your abilities, like I don't think it's cheating to like break it into thirds and do those as live mixed thirds, and then find ways to more surgically crossfade between these sections. I think that's okay. I'm sure there's some purists out there that will disagree for the sake of that, even though you're not doing it for an audience, but as a fixed media audio piece, not even a live stream, but a fully recorded piece of audio for the internet. You know what I mean? But that being said, like, you should practice this and things like this as long form live mixes, because like you should be trying to be doing more live outings of this project. You know what I mean? And this shit would be sick in that intersection of DIY weirdo noise and underground shit and more left field sort of club people. You're saying, yeah, I'm kind of giving segments like this track title as if the mix was an album. Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I'm hearing it here. Purists will have plenty of other things to be mad about with this mix well before they get to its design. LMA. Oh, good shit. Good shit. Make your decision, but do both as like the final practice. You know, and then you could do a play-by-play. Record your live mix, full version of it. See if it's, you know, if there are any red flags listening back to it. You might surprise yourself, but I would give yourself the opportunity to break it into segments so you can be that much more deliberate and precise, surgically so. But good shit. Good shit. Keep us posted on the gigs. Gotta get out. Gotta get out. You got a lot of cities near you, including the one you're in. Plenty of opportunities out there. Gotta go grab them. The weird shit. All right. Good stuff. Thank you, Breath Play. All right, we got Cuckoo with a brief message. Started with drums as always, went into ambient territory as a change of pace. A change of pace. Ambiente. Delicioso Slow. That's the name of this one from Cuckoo. Let's get it. Oh yeah. Cuckoo with the banger. Cuckoo with the ambient pulse. You know? We're living, I mean, this is a peak oil. This is a peak oil episode. Shout outs to Shout outs to Peak Oil. The fucking Brian Foote, the mastermind behind that label, cultivating a sound that I'm associating with a lot of things, including what Breath Plays spun before. But this is straight out of there. This is straight out of there. Loving the origins of this, as you just wrote. Started out as a sketch on the Ableton Note app. Yeah, shout outs to working on projects on your phone and tablets, when you're on a commute or sitting in bed, falling asleep. I am all for the mobile technology for even this idea of sketching it like Cuckoo did here. But, I use an iPad in my live set. I very much enjoy the ability to finger paint a gesture rather than have to twiddle a knob or bring another controller and a laptop or something like that. I really enjoyed this sort of study of pulse and atmosphere, because it really is this like contrast of pad, deeply polyphonic, textural clouded synth polyphony going on, long tones on that side, and then this just like spurts of rhythm on a, not superimposing, like it works within the ambient category on the more like ambient club side of things, Pure Link being the hot shit right now. Big fan of Pure Link out on Peak Oil, but speaking of Ableton, that's literally the name of the project is based off of using Ableton Link to jam between 3 laptops. That's what they are. They're a jam band, but jamming's fun. This totally is bringing me to Pure Link territory. Yeah, we should have, I will pitch it to Brian. I will tell him to watch this stream after the fact. Why isn't he watching it right now? I'll send it to him. And I'll say, you gotta go scout. You gotta go scout on the stream, dog. You gotta send your sharks to sign all of you to 360 deals, exploitative 360 deals for all of you. No, I enjoy the fullness of this, even if it's not necessarily mixed, or I don't know, channel stripped. It's certainly produced, Now we have to dirty it up, as I always say, Add some fucking saturation and excitation on that master bus. Get a fucking what's it called? What's the thing called? Gold clip. The gold clip plugin to throw on the master bus. Fucking send this through a Valve amplifier. Made in an hour today. Been busy for sure. Well, there you go. The next step. Throw some fat saturation on the master bus of this. Let me just feel a little bit more like a little more growl in the subs. Dirty it up. Good shit. Thorough music here. Thorough music. Thoughtful. Man, y'all got some good stuff. I am very much enjoying this today so far. All right. Thank you, Cuckoo. We got Jesse up. They put in some more work into the draft I shared in yesterday's Fight Club. Yes. We got a twofer, 2 days in a row. I did some more automation on voices, so it's a bit more of a chiseled stone. If you know, you know. I don't know if I know. Though I focused more on EQ rather than volume. Also added a 4/4 beat based on suggestion. Adds an extra stomp. All right. Alpha Boom. Version 2. All right. That was certainly some development. It's only been one day. Love to see it. Love to see turnaround on new drafts between Group Critique Fight Club Sunday and Monday. That's some productivity, y'all. Give it up for Jesse. Following through, continuing to do the work. This is great. No, I we were talking about adding drums to this yesterday. I was imagining I was imagining quarter notes on this, and you went into like quarter time kra kra kra, like we were really on this this groove in slow-mo, and it worked really well because like everything else is pulsating at a much, shorter, more repetitive, faster sort of rhythmic intervals here. Everything from that, like, the main sort of bass, and the sizzling that we're hearing throughout this. Adding that slow beat to that quarter time, half note speed groove was fantastic. I think it was a great choice here. Like Cuckoo had said, it's like a little bit more development now. Like I'm imagining like one more drum part potentially. Like I had joked, like always throw a hi-hat on something when in doubt, but like now you got like kicks and claps. It would be nice to have like one final stage of rhythmic development, like because that halfway point where we bring in the real groove to this in 4, and like we're finally established in a 4/4 meter rather than like 10/4 or 10/8, whatever you had set it to before. This the last third, if you could bring it up the ante just like small bits in the final third of this, like through rhythmic development, slightly more. I mean, like we don't need to like make songs what they aren't, I see people like thinking they're doing too little, so they just like stack things for the sake of themselves. It's okay for this piece to be repetitive and minimal, you know what I mean? But like you've already like developed the groove and made it concrete. To me, it's like we could have like one more sort of element that will just like arrange like that final icing on the cake, like truly developing this in some sort of song structure, Also, for those that didn't know, like this was made using Wendy Carlos's alpha tuning, which is in 15 tet rather than 12 tet, so it has the ability to go past your standard 12 tone, fitting 15 tones into an octave in this alpha tuning. So like for those wondering, the specific sort of collision, interesting sort of timbre that you're hearing between certain intervals, especially in the bass, we could really hear that in the bass. If you're hearing that and it feels a little detuned to your standard equal temperament 12 tet ear, don't worry, you're not hallucinating. This is 15 tet. We're hearing microtones that we're usually not used to hearing in this sort of stuff, and I think that's just like another added bonus to this, is just to create that. I mean, I'm sure there are some people out there that listen to microtonal synthesizer music and don't feel slightly off-put, like we can all admit we're just trained in 12-tone equal temperament, and that's okay. And, the first time you encounter microtonal music, period, like you might be like, ugh. But I think that like when you can get past that initial stage of like slightly off-put, or just like, thinking that it's out of tune, there are plenty of intervals within these microtones that are actually really quite pleasing. That being said, like the progression that you created here, it's not the tuning that is a little ominous and dark. It's the progression. It's the baseline chord progression that you have going on here that has this sort of like creeping, sort of ominous minor to it. And so like putting that contextually within alpha 15 tet tuning, it just creates this like sort of like compounded mystique around it, which I really like. You know, like it's very intentional micro tuning that to some people might be like, you know, like the classic collision face when you're just hearing two pitches that are, you know, slightly detuned from one another. But all part of the plan here. Very much enjoy experimenting with alternate tuning. And this was a hardware piece, right? I think this was a Eurorack piece originally at its source. No, I forget. You tell me, Jesse. Love this development. Want one more from you. Let's get one more dev in there. We can do it. We can do it. All right. Good stuff. Thank you, Yesy. All right. Who do we got? Who do we got on here? Pazu. The Reverend is back. They have written to us a note. This is another one from the upcoming tape, my favorite one. I've been deliberately mulling over the vocal mixes of the completed tunes. Still need to write 2 or 3 of them still. The one I shared last week was easier to mix. The beat was very deconstructed, so the vocals had a lot of room to breathe. This one, however, is super bottom heavy. There's a part where the limiter totally crushes one of the bars as the bass comes in. Still need to fix that. Vocals sound good. Vocal volume sounds good here, but I wonder if it is loud, audible enough. I am wary of pushing the volume because I frequently run into a problem where the mix is too busy and vocals get pushed too loud to compensate. This beat is also just bass and clap and hat and ambient loop from a friend. Very simple. The upcoming tape is called Eyes of the Basilisk. It is a Rococo! Rococo! It is a commentary on AI and posthumanism, although not explicitly so. Contains a lot of computer references and writes from the perspective of attempts at being human in a post-human world. Post-human world, that sounds like a fucking venture capitalist wet dream. You know, just me and the robots, me and Rococo. Love that. And I know you, Pazu, are tapped in to the discourse as a technologist, and not just a music technologist, but a web technologist, a dev. Hacker voice, I'm in. All right, here we go. Pazu, both of the feet.
Ain't a place a winner, I'm giving it, human and love. Giving it fight. All of my tethers are habitual. Breathing, biting, gaze of nights and can't defy it. Pipes up, giving it to with a nice touch. Building up, counting the moons in love. Sun is burning up, can't I feel the rush?
I tried lopsided, truth right in the head. I could've sat and typed about the feeling that I misconstrued as fight or flight. Gotta speak appreciation when I write. Yeah, you flashed me like a light, burning the magnesium. You could've probably seen me blushing through my darker undertones. Speak it into words and let congeal together, naked skin like open wounds. Speak of something else, maybe stitch our shit like leather. Take a breath and feel my pulse in you. I'm really fucking up the rap, I might've got distracted, quoting topics overused. Fucking up the class, derelict behavior. If I rip the patch and take a closer look, do I need to sue players of the game? All these dirty actors trying to get me too. I was spending for myself, nerves already frayed. Knots will tie, but they don't always save. They don't always save.
Taking a pace of winner, I'm giving it, human and love. Giving it fight. All of my
I'm allowed to feel how I wanna feel when I wanna feel it, when I'm feeling like I'm really overworked. Never cut a deal with hearts I'm out of stir, even though it hurts. What it means to me I couldn't capture in a verse. Couldn't shake the feeling I had shot through shrunken apertures. Zooming on the scenes you wanna see and write it afterwards. Life a movie if you always deal with funny characters. I can write a list of all the ones that made me laugh in the best of ways. I really love the whole entire cast. Wrap it up and answer what it's worth. Take a breath before I go ahead and make the story worse. I was trying to find the reason that I started on this path, probably in remembrance of the fun adventures that we had. But I can't deny the fact that I was never looking back, and I can't deny that I had cut the cable when it snapped. And I feel the sting, but now we got the freedom to relax.
Taking a pace of winter and leaving a human alive. Giving a fight, all of my tethers are habitual. Breathing by the case of nights and can't defy you. Life's so giving it to the lights touch. Building up, counting the moons in love. Something's burning up, can't wrap it rush.
Hell yeah. I'm loving this range. I'm loving this range. I know you're describing this as as blown out, which, you know, there's certainly a rawness to this. There's definitely distortion, but I mean, like, this is not compared to some of your other stuff, it's much quieter. You know what I mean? Like this was quite nice. I mean, I think that, like, your timbre, your voice as a mix engineer and producer, even though this isn't your beat, but I mean, like, the final mix of this, like the rawness of this, I think is, like, very just saturated by default. You know, I think, and that's okay. Like Breathplay said, I think it's okay that the diction is a little muffled here. Like, I think that's, like, you know, what the aesthetic of low fidelity is here. Like, the rawness is perfectly appropriate, you know. Very much enjoy the toying with melody as well. I don't know if we've heard much singing from you with this, but I mean, like, you're doing it all, you know. I could see you taking this even a step further in the vocal mix, you know. Like, why shy away from it, especially on, like, the, you know, I mean, if we're thinking about this dynamically, it all is kind of one zone, you know. And I mean, almost like your beat, your production on this, but, like, the ad libs can get even more. I enjoy hearing the octave on that, but I mean, like, we can get even more psychedelic. We can have it, you know, lay into the verb, lay into more distortion potentially here. I don't think this is a poor mix, though. You know, I think it's, like, pretty strong, just as the, like, one of the chill tracks on the tape. What are the dynamics like for the rest of this? Oh, you did make this beat, just the ambient loop was not yours. Got you. Well, I mean, like, that's the simplicity of that is nice, you know. I mean, like, that's what even more makes more sense now that you say that you made the beat, because I mean, I think cloaking the work in just a haze of saturation has been, like, a mode for you, and a good one. You know, I don't think, like we talked about before, like, we're living in this heavily distorted era of rap on the internet and production on the internet. So to find, like, a middle ground where we are toying with low fidelity, but in a tasteful, nuanced way as producers, I think it's punk rock. You know, like, it's just like a tone coloration that is coming through in your voice here. You know, just overdrive is a good thing, you know. And I mean, it's not like overblown. Like the moments where like you're saying like the drums are kind of cutting through here. I think that like it's still like a subtle, a subtle amount compared to some of the other stuff here. So like I wouldn't really worry about it. I think that it's like your sound to engage with digital hard clipping, or the zone between soft clipping and hard clipping that you are flirting with here. Yeah, like you said, the other tracks are more harsher, more mid-heavy. When I originally made it, I was aiming for the D'Angelo vibe, where his vocals were quiet, and then it made you want to turn up louder to compensate. It's not that they're like the voice is taking a back seat. It's just like you have this like hard limiter effect occurring where it does kind of get like the air sucked out of it when some of those heavy kicks come in. But that's okay. Like again, like I think it's like where you have to treat this like digital distortion the way that one would like tape distortion, where it's like I think it's part of the aesthetic. Unless you're trying to actively avoid this, in which like, yeah, you need to clean it up, but like, I don't think you are. I think that's like kind of part of the ethos here is a bit of the harder stuff. And like you said, it only gets harsher on this EP, right? It's toying with some more, tropes of distorted production happening nowadays, but is still like soulful at the end of the day. I like the D'Angelo reference here too, like also the usage of octave, and it's not really harmony, but it could be. You could expand the vocal arrangement even further, stack on those hooks, find another voice on that, find a way to expand on that, even and just doubling it digitally, digital harmonizer in there. I don't know, things you could do. Very much appreciate this. Send us the full tape when it's done or when it's out. You don't need to leak it unless you want to. Good shit. Thank you, Pazu. All right. Wrapping it today, we got our newcomer, Maya, here. That's the name of my sister. What's up, Maya? What do you have for us today? You have written this song will be the first track of my debut album. It's called Melee in the Background because it was built on a beat of chopped samples I recorded when my partner was playing on the GameCube controller. There you go. Literally Melee in the background. I'm thinking will be the first single for this album. Almost ready to send it for mastering. I would love any opinions at all, but especially how the sound design elements supposed to create a house party kind of vibe. Overall mix, like how the controller beat is sounding layered over the live drums and how the main vocals are feeling. My goal is lyrics are legible in some moments, but not too loud and leaving the fuzzy overall vibe. Bonus question, what genre is this song if you had to be more specific than just pop music? All good questions and things to listen out for. All right. He also wrote in the chat, I play with automating the hats somehow, maybe an LFO velocity. Okay, cool. Okay, Melee in the background. You're talking to Cuckoo. You're talking to Pazu right now. I'll let y'all chat while we listen to Melee in the background. Let's go.
That's actually like one of the characters. I'm very if I had to like
Can't remember exactly
Yeah. That was a blast. That was lovely, Maya. We haven't, always have no idea what things are going to sound like when someone submits their work for the first time here. And, it's been a minute since we had like a sort of full indie rock, indie pop sort of thing. And then, to answer the question, I don't know what genre we call this in. I mean, like, there's an almost almost slow core, but it's not very slow. That's the thing. But it has this sort of, when I mean like indie rock and its origin point of like, and like low fidelity, like lo-fi in the indie rock sort of category of this, the home recording, the coziness, and the talk about like a tasteful bit of saturation, a little bit of fuzz, a little bit of haze, like you said on this, like it's not meant to sound like this crystal clean, big studio production here. It's quite intimate. And it has this, just a little bit of saturation on this, just a little bit of hiss and things like that. It works really well. Going off of what Pazu said in the chat, I agree that the one thing that sort of stands out in the mix as sort of one of these things is not like the other, like slightly out of place in the mix as far as blending it with this sort of saturated warmth, is the little chip tune, beep burp burp. Plenty of things we could do about that, but I think that like, I mean, what they had written in the chat about a light delay on that kind of, or better yet, like a reamp sort of sound, like sending it through like a spring reverb sort of amp sound or something like that, I think would really make it that much more like part of the band, let's say. You know what I mean? Like I think that like it's the one thing that's sticking out as like just a bit too dry in what's otherwise like a pretty saturated and wet sort of mix. I think vocals are at a nice level. We're really getting the whole lyrical legibility here. But not like full in your face pop production when it comes to the levels of that. Like it's tastefully restrained here. Now, if you're worried that that's like not enough for, if lyrical legibility is the priority here and not necessarily an aesthetic choice of restraining yourself all the way, then you could benefit from like 3 dB more in the vocals. Some of the choir moments I think relate more to your delivery being a bit more hushed. That's okay. I don't see that as an inherent problem here, but like, I mean, I think I got all of your lyrics here. I wasn't writing them down, but I mean, like, I think I heard pretty much everything here. But if you have doubts, like, you should always go with the gut when it comes to that. But I'm not saying by a lot. Like 2 or 3 dB, or even yet like some sort of like in the usage of compression, like creating a threshold that will just raise your the limiter threshold or something like that by 2 or 3 dB, just so that the quietest moments might be a little bit more matched with the louder moments as far as decibel output goes. But that's just a utilitarian thought process here, because like, if you want straightforward lyricism, legibility, like, we should put the lead vocals, do not shy away from making it the loudest thing in the room, right? But like, aesthetically speaking, like, I'm feeling the restraint here. Like you said, like little house party vibes. Like, it's just kind of like, it feels live, and there's like a bit more restraint in the mix, a bit more quiet than you'd normally expect, but it feels live in that way. Like there's imperfection as an aesthetic choice serves the sound, in my opinion. It wouldn't take it away from that to like boost the vocals a little bit, but I see where it sounds right now. I think I mean it works for me blended aesthetically. But again, like, if you want lyrical legibility as the main priority, which is totally understandable, you could benefit from finding a way to slightly nudge. And I think that compression would be the better choice rather than just raising the levels, because the louder moments don't need to really get louder. Maybe the quieter moments could be boosted a little bit. I think lo-fi indie rock is exactly the thing. At least that's what my own influences are. Totally. And I can hear that. I think it's wonderful, you know? As someone in their mid-30s, this is like, feels very, pointed, and I understand exactly what I'm saying aesthetically when I say like lo-fi indie rock, It's bringing me to the late 2000s and 2010s in a very good way, Tascam tinted, I don't know if you had recorded with any real analog tape involved in anything like that, but you do a good job of emulating that, if not. But yeah, big thing was the only red flag was just the chiptune synthesis. Just finding a way to like make that a little bit more intentionally. Okay, so it's all Eurorack with. Oh no, I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong thing. But find a way to just blend lo-fi a bit more, the sort of speaker output of the chiptune synth. I think a digital reamp of some sort would be really nice here. But this is very, very nice. Right? I'm happy you heard some of the lyrics. I think compressing a tiny bit sounds very smart. I want it to be as legible as it can without sacrificing that vibe. Yeah. So a slight nudge in compression. That way it's not going to necessarily affect everything. It's only going to affect the quietest moments if you just raise that threshold a little bit there. Otherwise, I think that chiptune is a bit off key. No, I think that's just kind of like maybe it's not necessarily like perfect. Maybe it's the waveform itself has a bit of a detune in the hertz, in the fine tuning of that, but it's not a distraction. It kind of adds to the the sound design of a video game, kind of warbly imperfect circuit of an NES or some old school chiptune, Game Boy or something like that, where the battery's dying and it starts to kind of have that. I am just imagining it like that, like a dying Game Boy, Sick. Awesome. Well, thank you for submitting that. I'm glad you were able to get in the chat a little bit, Maya, and talk a bit more. This is really, really good stuff. Appreciate you coming through your first time in Group Critique Fight Club. And always a pleasure hearing from some returning faves. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff for a Monday evening. Chilling with everybody here. Lovely, lovely work from everyone. Always a pleasure. Unironically, some of my favorite stuff every month. Just hearing what y'all come up with and the privilege it is to be brought in on the ground floor on Works in Progress. Can't be overstated. This type of shit is important, Giving each other feedback. Some holistic critique going on in here. If you get out of line, you're getting banned. But we keep it light. We keep it fun. Good stuff from everyone. Once again, shout outs to our presenters, our sponsors for our Monday nights. Tape Trade, tapetrade.io. Go check them out. We got our Sunday critiques over on the Patreon, patreon.com/Parrotsky. And come through to the private lessons, parrotsky.xyz. Sign up for private instruction if you want to get in deep on the one-to-one. Good stuff from everybody. Very much looking forward to seeing what comes next, hearing what comes next. Remember to get in on the monthly project, due in 2 weeks. Looking forward to that one as well. And hope you all have a wonderful week. Keep listening. listen deliberately, listen critically. Oh yeah, go listen to Critical Listening, the other pod, the sister pod. Hell yeah. Good stuff, everybody. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.